Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sports Card Madness. This is LZ. I am here with Nick. Today, we're just catching up on things. We're going to be covering a lot of things happening with PSA right now. We're going to be covering a big show that's happening in Massachusetts. We're going to be covering the National. We're going to be covering Walmart. We're going to be covering so much more. So, Nick, how you doing, man?
You said PSA, but it's also PSA in backyard. But we'll
It's
get into
true.
that in a minute. I'm good. I'm good,
Yeah.
man. It's nice to have you doing the intro again. That was painful last week.
Yeah, I did some business travel, which I is really picked up lately, and you've been covering, so I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. That
Yeah,
was fun.
yeah. So speaking of business travel, let's start things off with the opening kickoff
The opening
segment
kickoff.
of our show. And I was traveling this week. I was in Louisville, Kentucky,
Oh, cool.
and I was with some coworkers. We were at dinner, and a few of our coworkers are actually from Arizona, specifically like the Sedona area. Have you ever been to Sedona,
I have
Arizona?
not, believe it or
Okay.
not.
All right. So the interesting thing about Sedona, Arizona is it's definitely like a town with a bunch of spas. It's like all about like healing and all that. And you kind of wonder like why? Why is it Sedona? Why is that?
Hmm.
They actually have a natural vortex in Sedona,
Ooh.
Arizona,
What
Nick.
is a natural vortex, LZ?
So a natural vortex is just it's the Earth. This is going to sound really foofy. It is the Earth's energy, like condensed in one particular spot.
What form of energy? Magnetic? Or you don't know the answer, do you?
So they're actually no. I looked into it. It's not something that can necessarily be measured.
Ooh,
So
my
you don't
favorite.
like go to it and like your compass is like spinning all over the place or anything like that. But I have been, Nick. And when you go to Sedona, and I didn't even know this when we first went to Sedona. So this was like something that I just felt. You get there and everything just feels different. Everything just feels like quieter. Your body feels like more still and like more present. And I was describing to people at dinner the way I would describe it, and I can't remember if we talked about this on a recent show or not. Did we talk about grounding? I know you and I did talk about grounding. I
I
don't know
don't
if it
think
was
so.
the show or not. So grounding is when you get away from all like electrical matter, like electricity and vibrations, and you go and
Oh, yeah.
literally like go sit on the grass in your bare feet.
Yep.
That's grounding, and it makes your body feel very different. And Sedona is the same way, man. It's wild. It is really strange. You get there, and it's just weird. And there are other parts of the world. There's Machu Picchu. There's a lot. The pyramids of Giza. There's Kilimanjaro. Like these are some areas. Stonehenge, but it's interesting if you think about it. Like Stonehenge, the pyramids.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, human beings realized that there was something special about these areas. Things felt different in these areas, and they built. So it was a really, it was a really cool dinner conversation. But I'm curious if any of the audience has been to Sedona. I guarantee you, if you have been, you have felt something different.
I
Guaranteed.
remember when you went out there with your family five
Mm,
years ago.
yeah, roughly. Yep.
Something like that. I
Hmm.
remember you coming back and saying there's something in the hills, something in
Yeah.
the mountains. So the problem with me is I come from a line of physicists and I always like to figure things out. Like I'll give you an example of a potential vortex. Epsom, it's a city in the UK.
Okay.
Everybody would go there and their muscles would feel better and
Uh-huh.
like they were just less sore and it was like really healing and it was like this really magical place. What they came to found was that there was magnesium salts in the water, and the magnesium. I take Epsom salt baths all the time. I highly recommend them to the
Mm,
audience.
mm.
It has a way of removing toxins from the body, loosening your muscles, and so
Okay.
they figured out what was going on. So maybe 100 years from now, there'll be some atom that's charged in the air in Sedona or something like that, and they'll figure it
Could
out.
be. It
Yeah,
could be. Yeah, yeah. I definitely wasn't taking any baths in Sedona. So I'll tell you that
I
much.
gotcha.
I was just hiking around. All right, what's your kickoff?
Oh man, so my 10-year-old son's been into steak now for like months, and I eat a ton of steak. I
Hmm.
have to kind of like as I lift and everything. And he loves the New York strip, and he's been dying to have steak tips. But here's the crazy thing: like he's allergic to garlic, And I joke that he's a vampire, you know, he's like
That's
definitely
tough.
allergic to garlic. That's tough. So I came up with a crazy recipe yesterday. It was one of those where you're just like, what's in my kitchen?
Hmm.
All right, so I grabbed a bottle of regular Coke. I had some local honey, a little bit of like nice high-end olive oil, salt and pepper. Nobody's allergic to pretty much any of that stuff. I threw it in
Hmm.
the sous vide for like 8 hours. Threw it on the grill.
Marinating that in the sous vide for like 8 hours. That thing was marinating. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
I
nice.
pull it out. He takes one bite and he's like, "All right, Dad, this is better than New York strip. How much are you gonna eat?" I
He
got
already
like
wanted to
this
steal
much
yours.
steak. I think I cooked a pound and a half, and I think he ate a
Yeah.
pound. It was crazy.
The Coca-Cola trick. I used to
Coke
do
worked
that.
great.
You know what else it does? It tenderizes the meat. The
Yeah.
Coca-Cola does.
I was gonna
Yeah.
add rum to it, but then rum has so many spices. I was worried about the allergies. Like I had plantation rum I was about to add. That
Yeah.
would have been like when I do the ribs on the fourth, that has rum in it. It's way
Mm-hmm.
better.
Does, yeah, your ribs are good. They are good.
All right, everybody's hungry
Yeah.
now.
All right. Yeah. No, I am getting hungry. I might try it tonight. We're having steak tonight, so we'll see. All right. Let's get to the topics at hand today, Nick. Let's cover PSA and backyard breaks
Yeah.
together. So there's been a lot of drama with backyard. Like we've talked about it. The listeners have definitely heard it, if not from us, from other people. Um, Specifically with one of their breakers, Grant, and some disgusting things that he did. And oh boy, backyard breaks was breaking at PSA. So visualize you have these frat boys, these backyard guys that are typically like shirts off, um, breaking, and they looked very professional at PSA. They had the polos tucked in, and they were very well behaved at PSA. Um, but it's interesting, Nick. I don't know the direction of this hobby. I really don't. Like, I want to understand the business strategy of PSA and the direction that they're going by allowing backyard on property, cameras on in their facilities doing this. And I'm sure they're moving a lot of chess pieces around, and they have bigger plans, whether it's tied to they both have relationships with GameStop, so it could definitely be something there, something brewing. But it's just it's just interesting. When I saw it, my jaw kind of dropped, and I said to myself, "Well,
You were really annoyed.
yeah, if this is going to happen, I don't know where the direction of anything in the
Yeah, it's
hobby
like
is going to
what
go."
are the standards? What do we care about? What
Yeah,
and this pulled me out. Like I was taking a 2 week Instagram break and I was like, this is too important. I have to do a video about it. And it was just like the beat rolls on, man. You know, backyard
yeah.
makes money. GameStop is a $14 billion market cap company. PSA is not even close to that. And so they aspire to be a big part of GameStop's growth plans. And they just had the GameStop CEO saying they're going to diversify heavy into collectibles. And so you've got this path of money and revenue, and you've been in the corporate world. There's a roadmap in place. It's probably in place before Grant said these dumb things. And the weird thing to me is that Nat is a smart business person, and I've engaged with Ryan many, many times, and he's pretty savvy too. It's disappointing that neither of them could just like take a breath for a second and be like, maybe this isn't the best optics, or
Mm,
maybe this doesn't feel good or set a good example. And we, as leaders in this
yeah.
hobby, should sacrifice a little bit of money here to do the right thing. But they didn't.
Or Nick, I would even there's even a third option. Like you gave a couple options that they could have done if they're going to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Like, all right, you have this, maybe there is this long-term deal that they had with Backyard, and this was set in motion well before all the antics that Grant did. Okay, you guys can come on site and you guys can break, but we know Grant is your number one breaker. Give us your number two breaker, and that person can come on
I
site.
didn't even think of that. Like,
Like I
yeah.
think that might have been a
Did it
that might have
have to
been a
be
good move.
Grant? Right. Like,
No, I mean I know it got eyeballs, but you know what? I think it would have got eyeballs anyways. If their number two breaker came on, I don't know if it would have changed their marketing plans or them trying to go viral with these reels that were on Instagram about it. I don't think it really would have mattered because you
This
would have had the
fits, yeah.
brand of Backyard Breaks, you would have had the brand of PSA, and it would have been enough.
This falls under that no publicity is bad publicity. It's like I hope they weren't like Grant's controversial. Let's put Grant on there, and this will be
Yeah.
get some extra views. And it did. It
Hmm.
got me to look at it.
Hmm.
Um, I hope that's not where they went with this. I think it was more just being stubborn and like this is our plan all along, and we're just going to do our plan.
We're
You
just
know, I'm
gonna stick to it.
sure that's what it was.
Hmm.
It's a little less. It's more benign than what Whatnot did. Was they took back Backyard Grant's account, they rebranded it as Backyard Buzz, they kept all the same reviews, all the same algorithm stuff, and just
Right.
put them right back on.
Yeah.
And it's like la 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 la,
Uh,
nothing's happening here. It's
Nothing's happened.
unbelievable,
Yeah.
unbelievable. And you're right.
Mhm.
It's like what? Like what is going on?
Yeah, it's tough. You and I, we talk a lot about business. We pride ourselves as being, business executives, business leaders, strategists, and all that. And this one is just peculiar to me. It's kind of why I was a little speechless when I saw it happen.
Yeah, you
But
were speechless.
I was. But it's a great opportunity to have a open dialogue and an open discussion with PSA. I know, Nat is a friend of the show.
Yep.
Maybe we can get him back on. Maybe we get Ryan on. So,
Nat's been on
um,
twice, and
yeah.
yeah, I've spoken to Ryan. He's I've given him an invite, so the
Mhm.
invite's open. Ryan, come on
Yeah,
on.
and we're very curious because we're mostly business focused people. Me and Nick love, and I think a lot of our audience appreciates the business focus as well. So we would love to understand the strategy if they want to talk to us about it. All right, let's get to another PSA topic. It's like a theme of the day today. PSA recently sent out a survey where they were just kind of, trying to get information from different customers. So tell
Yep.
us about the survey.
Yeah, this was cool. So who tipped me off to this? I got to give them credit. Neo, yeah, Neo. Neo's Comics. He's got a big
Okay.
YouTube channel. He's the
Yeah.
one. He posted this on Instagram, and then I went into my email. And then I dug it out as I do our registry invites, right? I was
Oh
like, oh, I need to go
shoot.
into the email and make sure it's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So we'll both be at the registry dinner for PSA.
Mm.
So it was in there and it was like, hey, PSA needs your feedback. And I'm like, wow, this is awesome. I'm going to fill this out. And then I went through the whole thing. I had heard whispers about card cleaning. That's the only thing I had heard before I dove in. And then I really dove in. And it
Mm-hmm.
was cool because they asked you, like, strongly disagree, strongly agree, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, for a bunch of different new services. I'm not going to list them all because we'll fall asleep. The headline, the big one, is card cleaning. So they're asking you if you would be interested for $2.99 a card for PSA 2. And it's not just wipe, it said wipe and buff. Wipe
It
and
did.
buff. It
It
said
did.
buff.
That was the interesting one, Nick. Yeah, I'll let you get through them all, and then let's talk about a few
Well,
of them.
yeah, I'm just going to
Yeah.
do two or three. So that
Yeah.
was the
Yeah.
first big one. People were
Hmm.
like, "Wait a second, we have a few things to say about that."
Hmm.
The other one was like a PSA branded sleeve for $1.99. So you got the
I do.
for those on whatever, for those on audio, I'm holding up a Card Saver 2, right? This is just I don't know what this costs. Maybe it's like 10 cents or something like that.
Right.
And
Right.
then you have the penny sleeves, which are probably like 1 cent. And so like if you want a PSA branded sleeve, it's
Yeah.
one
Sleeve on
ninety nine.
top of your slab.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing is they give those away for like free now. Like randomly
For
once in a while, like
for
you
certain
get 'em.
orders, it depends on
Yeah.
the order. So if you're doing economy, you don't get one. Sorry.
Okay.
If you're doing a $10,000 Jordan, you get that
Yeah.
5 cent sleeve.
Yeah.
So
So they want to charge, maybe looking into charge for that.
$2 a card. Are
For a
you out of your
sleeve.
mind? Like
Yeah.
now, I remember at business school they had a question for us. It was, what is the highest margin product of all? I'm going to ask you this, LZ. The highest margin product other than drugs, that doesn't count. The highest I've asked you this before, so you might know, that has ever been created in the real world. The highest margin
I
product.
think it's coffee.
You're close, but it's not. It is
Soda.
movie theater popcorn. Okay.
Okay.
That costs like 2 cents and they sell it for 20 bucks.
12.99 for a
Yeah,
small.
whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just a little oil and popcorn seeds. That is the highest margin. Coffee's number 2, and soda's number 3.
Yeah,
So
fountain drinks. Yeah.
this may knock that off its horse.
$2.99 per.
Like for $1.99 for a penny
No,
sleeve.
$1.99.
This may beat movie theater popcorn on margins. So
Yep.
hey, if they can get it, bravo. But
Yeah.
Um, there was some other stuff that didn't stand out too much to me. It's like the scannability, tracking your
Mm.
portfolio and stuff like that. But those are kind of the big two
I
that
have
caught my
another
attention.
one that stood out.
Mm.
It was interesting. They asked about um local retailers that you could drop your cards off at. And
Oh,
GameStop is on there. Okay, that makes sense. Dick's Sporting Goods and Lids. Very
Lit
interesting.
still exists?
Lids still exists. Nick, who owns Lids? I kind of feel like it might be Fanatics.
All right, I'm gonna look
We
this
need to
up.
look this up.
Who owns Lids?
Yeah,
First of all, I didn't know they were even around. It's a joint venture between Fanatics and Ames Watson.
there you go.
In addition,
Interesting.
Meek Mill also has an ownership stake in Lids.
Interesting. So we've been talking about Dick's
Huh.
a lot lately, right? With they now have these collectible corners. I forget what it's exactly called. We talked about it on a past show. So there might be a corner where they're selling wax, they're showing off cards, and you can drop cards off. And then Lids, who is
All right. So
fanatic.
as the consumer, I like it. I like convenience. I'm a convenience guy all the way. You know me.
Absolutely.
So if I'm in Dick's getting a boogie board for the beach, I want to drop off some cards. That's great. Um,
Yes.
and Lids, I don't think I'll
100%
find
agree.
myself at Lids very often, but it's a new
Yeah, I mean they're in the
clientele.
malls. They're in the mall. I
That's right.
mean, if you're near a mall, they're there. So,
That's true.
um, I love it because I think about we're in Massachusetts and we're typically sending our cards to California because I think autograph cards have to be. I think they have to be shipped
Yeah.
to the California location. Like those cards, when I ship them, they don't get received for like a month.
And you got to
A month,
insure it. You got to ship
right?
it. You got to
So now
pack
all of a
it.
sudden I can drop it off. Like heck yeah,
It's
I'm
kind of
doing
like going
that.
to Kohl's with your UPS package, but you just have to scan the barcode.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
it's
And it's
great.
kind of like here's your cards and here's a barcode. And
Yeah.
shout out to Rob Burbank Sports Cards. They just opened on May 30th.
Hmm.
They have a PSA kiosk inside their shop owned with PSA employees. We just did a tour if you want to check it out. It's on the channel a couple days
Mm.
ago. That's cool, man. You just roll right in, like you say. No shipping, no insurance.
Wow,
Done.
it's beautiful.
Yeah, I like it.
Beautiful. Other than waiting in line. So let's talk about the buffing though, before we move on to the next topic, Nick. That is very interesting. They will kind of clean it, they'll wipe off the fingerprints, and they said light buffing. So
I
they will use some sort of, I don't know,
chemical,
some
liquid,
product.
wax. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it could just be like a towel, some special
Let's
microfiber
get let's
towel
get
or
Kurt
something.
back on. We'll ask
We
him what he
should.
thinks they're doing.
We should
Yeah.
get his opinion on
Well,
that.
here's something that's going to be awesome. Kurt is going to be at our party, and I think some people from PSA will be at our party as well,
They
so they
will.
can they
They
can talk
will.
about the
You
different
know,
substances.
you know what, Nick? Maybe we'll bring them together and we'll
I
help
think we
build a
will. I
partnership with
think we
them.
will.
Kurt can do all of their buffing for them. So
So,
yeah.
all right, my problem with this is they have actually decertified cards for
Mm.
card cleaning. If they are about to do this themselves, I think that they need to take a hard look at everything they've decerted. That's my opinion.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, there's
Yeah.
something trimming is one thing, but if they
Mhm.
are about to buff cards and
Yeah.
cards have been removed for buffing, then I don't like that.
Although Nick, I don't know if they were removed for buffing. I think
True.
usually the cards are removed because they
Soaked in
saw, yeah,
chemicals
they
and
saw
like
some foreign substance on it, and I don't think PSA is going that direction. Although
right, right,
never
right.
know, but
But I don't
I
like a
don't.
double standard. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, check your email, people. If you've dealt with PSA before, you probably have a survey buried in one of your junk folders or something. So
huh?
check it out. All right, next topic. I find this very interesting. Nick, how many and you I don't even think I know the answer. So this is gonna be a guess. How many tables do you think are at the National? Maybe we
I
could look that up.
I actually have no idea. I feel like it's like 5,000, like in my head, you know? How many tables at the National Card Show? Let's see.
Let's see what
Oh,
comes up.
well, 600 vendor tables. That doesn't count. I don't know how many card tables there are. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
50,000 square feet, right?
It's 500,000 square feet is what I think
Okay.
it was last year. All right, so where I'm going with this is I saw some news that the Boston area, specifically Marlborough, Massachusetts, in 2026 is going to have 1,000 table card show.
That's insane.
That's a
What
big
venue
one.
is this? Like,
This is at some big venue in Marlboro. I do remember they have some sort of convention center over there. I think
oh,
it
okay.
might
It's like
even be
one of
near
those.
like a hockey rink, and I think they're like they host like
I know Worcester's
hockey
got
tournaments and
they have the DCU and then, yeah,
yeah,
all right. So it's in a big place because that's massive.
it's in a big place. So this could be interesting. 1,000 tables. That's gonna be a
That's
big
a big
show.
boy.
That's a big
That's
show. I
legit.
mean, the biggest show right now is like you have the Shriner show. You also have the I think it's called the Northeast show. The
That's
Northeast
like
one.
400 tables,
Yeah,
something like that.
400-ish.
Yeah,
So this is like tripling that.
that's
Um,
wild. I mean, it's cool. We'll
very
see how it
interesting.
does.
The other interesting thing, and I think it was Alex, so shout out to Alex Tressler, who me and him were talking about this at the Shriner show this year, was around vintage cards.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think about this, but he said New England is a great place to collect vintage cards
Why?
because
Old people?
it's been around forever.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a lot of the big teams were around New England, the New York area way back in the 1920s, 30s,
Right.
40s,
I feel it.
right?
All right.
So it's interesting. Like he was saying that he goes to some because Alex travels our own to different shows, right? And he goes to other shows. I think he was talking about like the Philly show, and even the Philly
That's
show
big.
didn't,
Yeah.
but it didn't have a lot of vintage.
Cool.
But then he's at the Shriner show, and there's a ton of vintage. So I think it could be like I'm thinking to myself, like could a show support could a local show around here support 1,000 tables? I think it maybe could
Yeah,
because
I think so.
1/3 of them could be vintage tables. So I do think it's interesting. So if you're looking for vintage cards, people, you should be looking in the New England area.
Good. Maybe I'll finish my damn set at that show. My 69 set. One more time. Signed Guy Rogers, signed Bill Bridges, 1969 Topps NBA. You get a party invite too if you
You
find
do
him.
get a party invite, everybody. Yes.
Sorry for the shameless plug.
No, that's all right. I'll be doing mine at some point too, but not right now.
All right,
All right.
cool. That's exciting.
Next segment, everybody. We are going to the Pop Report.
The Pop
And the
Report.
Pop Report has nothing to do with the hobby. The Pop Report is us updating the audience on what pop culture topics have hit home with us over the past week.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick it off. The first one I want to talk about is you probably living under a rock if you haven't heard this yet, everybody. Taylor Swift, probably the biggest musical artist in this generation, bought back all of her old songs. If you all recall, I think it was like 2019. It was big in the news. She lost the rights to all of her music up until 2019. Just some shady stuff was going on with some of her manager and her production company, and she lost it all. And that is really where she became big. She started to really take off around 2019 because all of her fans got behind her because poor Taylor Swift, all of her music just got stolen. Then Taylor's going to go and re-record all of her music. She has these huge tours around re-recording all this music. So it's interesting, everybody. Now that she has bought back all of her old music, what does that do long term to her and her career? I do wonder if there's a little bit of, I don't know if shine's the right word. It's probably not the right word, but I'm going to use it anyways. A little bit of shine might be off of her now that she's gotten all of her music back. Because now it's almost like you can't claim like the woe is me, poor Taylor, because she got her music back.
She's way past that.
Yeah, she is. But I agree with that. She's definitely past it, but it's part of how she got popular. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, she was at bars in Nashville playing in front of 10 people, and she's a good guitar player. People don't realize that.
Well, she's an even better songwriter.
Like a Bob Dylan level
Yeah.
songwriter, and he's probably the best ever,
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, there's some other bands too. Don't take the music rabbit hole.
So there is rumors.
Yeah.
So it got sold a couple years ago for 300 million. You got to think it went for more than that. So she probably bought it for 400 million, 500 million.
Content is king, man. Content is king. All these
and now
catalogs.
she owns it all.
Yeah.
Now
Just
she
any of
owns
these
it all.
bands, like you could just be like the Smashing Pumpkins, and you're worth 100 million just because you have content that that still snaps from the 90s, you know?
Hmm. That's
So
right.
that's crazy.
All right, next topic.
All right,
Pop
mine
report.
is spoiler alert. Okay, this is about The Last of Us. If you have not played the video game or watched the show, this particularly this season,
Yes, if you have not
fast,
gotten to episode 3, I think, or two, or two.
fast forward about 2 minutes,
Yeah, yeah.
I would
Hmm.
say. Okay,
Hmm.
you've been warned. So I knew this before the show started, but because I played the video game, and it's probably the best video game I've ever played in my life, Last of Us 2, just unbelievable.
Okay.
And it had a Ned Stark moment, right? Like Ned Stark got his head chopped off in season 6 of
Episode
Game of Thrones.
6. Yeah.
And but that show took off, right? Because it had other deep characters.
Hmm.
Last of Us lost Joel in episode 2 this year.
Yeah, gone.
Gone.
So Joel, played by Pedro Pascal,
Yep.
great
Popular,
actor, very
great actor.
popular now. Mandalorian.
And now, Ellie, that's the character. I don't know the girl's name that plays Ellie.
Yeah, the young
She
female. Yeah.
in the video game, she carries the rest of the video game. And
Okay.
that video game could probably turn into about 3 seasons, I would say,
Hmm.
versus the first one. And so now I've only watched 3 episodes because, again, I've played the game, so I know what
Hmm.
happens.
I'm caught
Um,
up.
yeah, so
Yeah.
Ellie's going on a revenge tour, basically. But, it's interesting. What happened was they lost a large chunk of the audience after episode 2. A large chunk, as in, I read half, but LZ, what did you read?
I read half. It was
Okay.
half. And
Say,
it was right after the episode after Pedro Pascal passed away.
because
Joel
people,
Joel died in the show.
there have been some feedback about. I still don't love the lead as Ellie. It just doesn't fit quite right for me. After
Really?
playing the video game, she
Hmm.
just doesn't quite fit her.
Any other female come to mind on who would have done better?
Oh
Millie
man,
Bobby Brown?
she would crush it, dude.
Yeah, but she's
That's
busy with Netflix. She's busy with Stranger Things. She couldn't do
she'd have
it.
to grow her hair back too. Or wear a
Yeah.
wig.
Yeah.
She would have crushed it. Actually, that's really perfectly cast. She would have been amazing.
Yeah.
This girl's a little like rougher and
Okay.
I don't know, whatever. So
All
I
right.
won't digress for too long. But anyway, that's the big
Yeah.
news. That show's getting porked after Joel dies. So, I mean, hey, they have to follow what happened in the game. And I will
Hmm.
say this. I don't know if the show follows this path, but the video game gets very good. So
Okay.
we'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see.
it's gotten good. It's really good right now. So
Yeah.
keep watching, everybody.
All
All
right.
right, next one. A little bit of tech news, Nick. Tech news. ChatGPT. We all use it. The company who owns ChatGPT is OpenAI.
Yep.
OpenAI just made a recent large purchase of a company. Johnny Ives, if that name rings a bell, Johnny Ives was the lead designer for all things Apple. Designed the iPhone, designed the iPad, designed the iPod, everything, the MacBooks. And eventually he left Apple. He started his own design company.
Mhm.
OpenAI has purchased Johnny Ives' company for multiple $billion. I think it was at least $3 billion. It might have even been $4 billion for
Amazing.
his design company. And the interesting thing is, they want to build some sort of hardware. So we're all used to using GPT on the web, on the app. It's interesting.
Sick.
You wonder what OpenAI could do with hardware, especially with Johnny Ives. It's going to be
I
something
mean,
sexy looking.
this
I'll tell you that.
duopoly is ripe for disruption, as most duopolies are.
Mhm.
We'll talk about another one a little
Okay.
bit
So
later in the show.
speaking of, well, that's fine. Speaking of disruption, let's move on to the last one that you have.
The last one that I have,
Market Basket.
Yeah, so Market Basket. This is interesting. Market Basket. This was 2014. This happened.
Mhm.
It's one of the greatest case studies ever of like consumers winning. There's a board member that was pissy, and they liked the board member because he's one of the original owners' family members, and everybody banded together and just said overnight, we're going to stop shopping at Market Basket. I remember this because my wife was pregnant at the time, and learning a new grocery store is not easy. This is before Instacart and all these things are just
Right.
delivered to you.
We
and
talked
pickups.
about this on a show probably 6 months ago, but
Yeah.
yeah,
So
this story. So there's more to it now. Yep.
yeah, so that happened overnight, and there's another issue again, and they're trying to do it again. I think it will fail this time because of how people shop for groceries. But
There's
it
too many
worked.
options.
Yeah, it worked the time before, and I actually want to tie this to the hobby real quick.
Yeah.
Market Basket was a massive grocery store in New England. If you had told somebody, yeah, in a week, it'll be a ghost town. If you go in there, you'll be embarrassed to go in. The
Yeah,
workers
you'll
will
get
look at
like
you weird.
tomatoes thrown at you.
Everything was going to rot for a
Mhm.
month, and everybody's going to shop everywhere else. You'd be like, no, that's not possible. It actually happened. An event that galvanized everybody. So if you don't like backyard, and if you don't like certain breakers, if you don't like PSA, if you don't like other companies, you always vote with your wallet. These companies can always be brought to their knees. Always. It
They
can
can.
be possible.
Hmm.
You just have to vote with your wallet.
Hmm.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying to do that. I'm just saying that that's how it could go.
Yeah. Yeah. Could. All right. So that was the pop report for today, everybody. More to come on that. All right, Nick, next topic, back to the hobby, which you just excellently kind of folded it back into the hobby. The National. The
Hmm.
National is choosing their
Two
2028
locations.
location. We are going to have a debate on which city is the best city, and it is between Atlanta and Detroit.
All right.
All right, Nick.
You want heads or tails?
I'm taking heads. Heads never. Oh no, shoot! I want tails. Tails never fails.
Tails never fails, and
Wesley Snipes.
whoever wins gets to pick. All right.
All right,
All right. Heads. You're taking tails. Here we
tails.
go. It's tails. You pick.
It's tails. All right, I'm gonna take. I'm gonna take Detroit. It
Okay.
should be in
That means I
Detroit.
get Atlanta, right?
Yeah. All right.
Excellent.
All right. So Nick, it needs to be in Detroit for a few different reasons. First off, they both have great airports, but Detroit's airport is amazing. It is very clean. It's shockingly nice, their airport. So I think it will be easy to get in and out. I think Atlanta will be easy too, but that's number one. Number two, you don't want to be falling asleep midday with all the great food in Atlanta. You need to have some Detroit pizza. Detroit pizza, it's fluffy, it's light. It's great. It's become a big thing lately, especially kind of across the country with Detroit pizza. You're gonna get that. Maybe Eminem's gonna show up. Maybe
Maybe.
might get Eminem. We might get Eminem showing up to Detroit. Uh, and you know what? I think the city of Detroit needs it. There's been rumors that the
The
city of
underdog.
Detroit is like making a comeback. I actually work with somebody who lives right outside of Detroit, and he's been talking about how it is making a comeback. It's becoming like a great city to visit. There's a lot of like nice restaurants in there, and I think the National coming to Detroit would be another
Yeah.
kind of
Feel
boost to
good
the city.
story.
Atlanta doesn't need that, Nick. They
Yeah.
don't need that. Detroit does.
I don't know, man. I remember going to Detroit in 2009, and we were just talking about The Last of Us. It was like a casino,
That's
and
2009. That's
yeah.
2009, man. Come
All
on.
right, all right.
All right.
So you're missing one thing here, man. If it's in Atlanta, I mean, we have the greatest card shop that's ever graced the presence of Earth is in Atlanta. Cards
Wait a
HQ.
minute. Burbank moved to Atlanta? Is that what you're telling me?
Not only that, but the most savvy sports card investor ever. The coolest guy. He's got black shirts. He's the Steve Jobs of sports cards. He's in Atlanta, man. I mean, it's going to make it so easy. Like he's going to pump this thing up for you. He'll only charge you like 50 grand instead of the usual 100 grand to like pump up the show and things like that. And I'm sure he'll host some lovely trade nights. So you got that going for you.
So you have the greatest card shop
the
in the
greatest
world,
sports card investor of all time.
and you also have the greatest investor
Ever.
slash like flip what's the
Philanthropist.
word I'm looking? Yeah, that's such a hard word for me. Who just loves helping out the hobby and helping people. Yeah, you're right, Nick. Oh
Yeah.
shoot, you might win
So
this debate.
Atlanta
You
has
might win
Jeff
it.
Wilson. All right. And Jeff Wilson, I'm telling you, he's going to make this happen. He's going to make phone calls. He's going to do videos. He's going to pretend he's mad about things, and he's going to make it happen. And I mean, Atlanta's got a lot of sports teams like right there. So it'd be interesting. Like it's actually a nice little area where they would probably have it, but we'll see. The weather, I guess, the weather's a wash because that time
The
of year,
weather's-
it's
yeah,
it's
gonna be
going to be nice
really hot.
regardless.
No, it's going to be really, really hot. And Atlanta is a swamp in the summer, Nick. A swamp.
Yeah.
I was swinging your direction because of those just incredible mines that are in.
I got
in
one last
Atlanta.
question though.
But come on, man. The
All right,
weather, that is terrible weather in the summer.
You have 30,000 in cash because you just sold a bunch of cards and you're walking out of the National. Where do you feel safer, Detroit or Atlanta?
I I don't know, actually. That's a good question. That's a good question. Um, I'd like to think both of those major cities have a great police force. And I think either of them would be very safe, Nick,
Okay. Yeah,
especially
I agree. I
during,
don't want to poop on Detroit or anything because I haven't
yeah,
been there in 15
yeah.
years, and I'm sure that's a joke, everybody. Okay. It's a
Yeah,
joke.
we're obviously doing a debate. We're
Yeah.
doing a
We
fake debate
flipped a
where we
coin
had
to
to
pick
flip a
it. So
coin.
yeah, like
Yeah, to flip a
I'm
coin.
sure it's fine. Nowhere's
Yeah,
really safe
yeah.
if you got 30 grand in cash. Like nowhere.
No,
So all
no,
right.
no.
We'll
All
see what
right.
happens.
Next topic. All right. Yeah, so we'll have to stay tuned on where the National is going to be. Next topic. Walmart is getting into braking. So Walmart has teamed up with the braking company We the Hobby, and they're actually braking on a Walmart live platform now. So they
Wild.
have their own selling platform. I want to say like maybe 8 months ago, we brought up that Walmart was getting into, I forget if it was the repack. I think it was more of just like an online card shop retailer space. Like they were kind of getting into that. And this looks like the next step. They're now getting into breaking. I mean, this is something that we talk about breaking all the time. We talk about how popular live selling is going to get. It,
Not just that, like Whatnot being the big dog, and we're like, Netscape was a big dog too.
oh, Nick,
Microsoft Explorer came out. Not everybody's alive for this, but
Nick,
like
Nick, that is a great, great call. You don't think Walmart has deep
stomp.
enough pockets to
Yeah.
create a much better live selling
Walmart would
platform?
be like, Taylor Swift's gonna break for us.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
they'll do whatever they want. They're an
Yeah.
800, they're 1,000, they're bigger than eBay.
Yeah, they what Walmart's what like a top five company in the world?
Company. Yeah,
Like I
market
mean,
cap. Their market cap beats the living crap out of TikTok,
all of
eBay,
them,
TikTok, all of them combined.
all of
Fanatics,
them.
all of while What is
So
the I'm
this
gonna
is
while you're
really
market
interesting.
cap of Walmart.
Really
Let's see.
interesting. So we the hobby, be curious to kind of hear the story there on why they partnered with them. But I think they actually kicked off their live selling.
Yeah,
When we're recording this, I think they kicked it off like the night
very
before or a
interesting.
couple days before.
Walmart coming in at a $790 billion market cap. Okay. I'm sorry, eBay, TikTok, whatnot. You're curb stomped if they actually decide to do this.
If
Done.
they decide to,
Dunzo.
yeah,
Or
or they
whatnot just
buy
gets
you,
they
or
buy
they
you.
purchase
And
you.
so that's not a curb stomp. That's a happy group
No,
of people.
that's a good ending.
The happy outcome.
It's a
So
good ending.
we'll see.
Yeah,
But it
and
tells you about the space.
Nick, maybe that's the direction that Whatnot wants to go. If we think about why they aren't making some of these decisions, they're like, screw it. We're pouring gasoline on this thing. We're just going to grow, 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 grow. And we
Yeah,
want to
they're on
get
a
purchased.
Series E, right?
Yeah,
I
we want to get
mean,
acquired.
you don't want to be doing too many more, and they're going to need more money. Walmart's going to have them like by the throat if they do this. It'll be
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah.
10 or
All
12
right.
people will get rich and everybody else will be boned. All right.
All right. Next topic.
Yeah,
Local card shop. Something, yeah.
this is
What's the deal
kind of
there?
crazy. All right. So this is a big card shop. I'm just looking on my phone so I have it accurately here. So Legends Only GG, that's their whatnot. Sorry, that's their Instagram handle. They have 50,000 followers on Instagram. Legends Only is a big whatnot presence. They're a big card shop. KSAT 12, that's a news station out in their area. Did a
What area? Where is this located? Do you know where?
I wish I know.
Oh, sorry. I'll look
It's
it up.
Bexar County. So wherever that is.
Okay.
The constable, which I think is like a sheriff, like an arm of the sheriff or something like that. They basically
Texas,
Texas. All right.
near San Antonio.
That's why they have a word like constable. We don't have
Yep.
constables in New England. Like, so basically, they went in and raided the place. Now I know through my channels that there has been some shady stuff on. I'm not going to air it because I don't feel responsible enough with the facts to do so. But I've heard about bad things happening with them. Never really dug into it more. And then I see this, and now people are hitting me up saying like, look. The news station is covering a lawsuit between somebody in that company, and some stuff's being seized for the purposes of evidence and stuff like that. So I'd encourage you to watch the situation. They have a statement on their Instagram, kind of refuting what was being covered on the news channel. But if you Google just local card shop rated, KSAT 12, you'll be able to see the footage. It's like a 5-minute news bit.
So is all that stuff that's going to be rated going to go up for public auction at some point, Nick?
I don't
That's
know.
interesting.
MJ rookies.
We should be.
I
We
got
should
one
keep track.
digression. I got one digression real quick, man. There's a big whale in our space, He posted
I
on
know where you're
Twitter.
going,
Yeah,
Rob.
did
Yeah,
you hear
I
about
did.
this? Rob
I did
Go?
see. Yeah, I
Ma-
did. Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about it anymore because I'm going to go down this road. So I'm not going to say
Yeah.
another word. I'm
I'm
not
not
going to say another word.
either.
There's a
You can.
secret. There is a secret path to getting cheap cards that I didn't even think of. Ray Schulte hinted to us
Mm,
a year ago, and I never
shoot, you're
followed up.
right.
He did.
You're right.
Shut up. All right,
Oh,
we're going to
shout out
shut
to
up.
Ray.
We're going to shut up now.
Yeah.
We're
Yep.
going to shut up
Mm-hmm.
now. We're going to go to the question of the
Yep.
day.
You're gonna have to do your own research, everybody, on
Sorry,
this one.
everybody.
And until we've mastered it, we're probably not going to talk about this one. But yeah.
All
All right.
right.
Question of the day, Nick. It's your turn to ask me a question.
All right. This is a deep one. What is something that you think that is different than like how 99.9% of other people feel? Like it is so far outside the norm. It's like the
Whoa.
polar opposite of what most of the public feels or thinks about something.
Holy crap. Um. Oh, geez. All right. One thing comes to mind. I was watching the news this morning. It was talking about sunscreen and how 75% of all sunscreens that people purchase actually don't do anything for you at all, provide you zero protection. And they were talking obviously about skin cancer, right?
Mm.
I mean, I don't know if you said 99%. I think
All
there's
right. So a
more
large
than
amount.
1%,
Yeah.
but I'm kind of the older I get and the more I hear about friends, family, acquaintances getting diagnosed with some form of cancer. And I'm also like reading all this research about how uh, eggs cause cancer, coffee causes cancer, caffeine causes cancer, chicken causes cancer. Like just going and going and going and going. I don't know, man. Like, does any of this really cause cancer, or is it just when it's your time to go, it's your time to go? The universe, you just somehow get it. Like, the whole cigarette thing. Now, cigarettes are obviously bad. I'm not condoning cigarettes. I don't smoke, but I know like 90-year-olds that smoke cigarettes, and they're fine. They're drinking like whiskey every day and smoking cigarettes, and they're fine. So, I mean, I don't know. You kind of threw that one. You kind
Yeah.
of threw that one on me,
I
and
feel that, man.
I was just watching the news this morning, so like that one came to mind. Like,
Cancer
what
cells are
really?
like you have to think of like bingo balls in a hopper, right? And so
Yeah,
like yeah, if you smoke, you're gonna add a few more blue colored balls to it. If like a
right.
ball comes out, and then if you live a healthy life, you could probably remove five. But at the end of the day, there's like 100 in there, and so like it's just odds. So I get it, man.
Yeah.
It's a
What's
very 80s
yours?
child thing to say.
You
I
think
think
so?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think you'd have to
Yeah.
kind of grow up in the 80s to feel that way.
Hmm.
I feel
Okay.
that way too.
All right.
All right,
Okay.
so mine is politics. You know this very well.
Hmm.
I barely even know when there's a presidential election. It's fantastic. I don't
No,
pay
I have to
attention to any of that
remind
crap.
you.
I I actually don't think it matters at all. I think it matters like 2% to your life, who's in office. Um, I think that it is basically just it's Pepsi and Coke, it's Burger King and McDonald's. They get on side, they get on side. They're just acting. It's just like acting classes on both sides. And
Mm.
like, yeah, one takes office and there's some tax stuff, and like there might be some social changes and things like that. But like 90% of America just kind of rolls on. And like the amount of anger and attention and
Oh,
everything that is focused on politics for that 10% that I think
the
actually
far right,
changes
the far left. Yeah. Oh
exactly is
gosh. Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend what I do. I just don't care. I don't care at all. I don't care. I vote. I vote. I usually vote libertarian. I just don't care. Sorry. I don't care.
No, you really don't.
I
This
care
is
about
very
local
true.
politics a lot, like
Yeah.
local stuff, hyper
So
local
you
stuff.
think so you think local politics is
That
okay.
actually
So
makes
more at the
more than a
federal level.
10% difference in your
All right.
life, right?
So at the federal level.
Yeah, I'm going to say
Yeah.
the federal level here. Like the
Yeah.
state level and the town, even the town level can
Hmm.
be, who's on your school board can make a huge difference in your life.
Huge. Yeah.
But who is,
Yeah.
whether it's Joe Biden or some corpse or like some, salesman or some, it's just like, it's not going to affect me that much. Oh, that's going to
Hmm.
piss some people off.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, that is definitely the contrarian view to all this because it is a very, very polarizing topic, is politics.
Whew,
So,
all right.
all right. So we got through that. But no, I mean, I kind of understand what you're saying. I kind of do. I pay attention to it more than you do, but
The amount of
in the
peace I
grand
have
scheme,
from not paying attention is It's glorious.
Yeah, now I do need to get you to watch the news a little bit, though,
Yeah, I
Nick.
never
Just
watch
a
the news.
little bit. Just a
Never watch
little
the
bit.
news.
You need to start following like CNN or Fox in
That
your
doesn't sound like
Instagram
fun,
feed.
man.
You just
Yeah,
need to follow one of them or
just
both of them.
one.
Well, no, both of them. So then you get both
I
sides.
used to spend 10 seconds a day on the AP app. I just haven't done that in a while, Associated
Okay.
Press app, because they're pretty
Yeah.
impartial. I worked for them for a
Yeah.
while as a consultant, and it was nice. It was like, here's the 10 things you need to know. And you just, whatever,
Or
you're
even
good.
get the Wall Street Journal again. I know you used to do
I
that. So
used to
did I.
love that.
I did too.
I
I did
love
too.
that.
I'm just lazy. I don't know why I haven't redone my membership. I should
Yeah,
just
we
get
have
the
two
journal.
houses too, so you go to one and sits there for a week, and
Yeah, it just
it's
builds
like,
up.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a pain.
Yeah. All
All
right,
right.
everybody.
Thanks,
Well,
everybody.